And as promised, we're back for the second segment of the DMZ America podcast. I'm editorial cartoonist Scott Stantis, coming to you from the right.
And I'm editorial cartoonist Ted Rall, coming to you from the left.
Okay, so I teased this segment a little bit, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Ted, this is an experiment. Ted, is genocide bad?
Yes, genocide is always bad, Scott.
Bing, 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 bing. That's all you have to say. In a recent hearing by the president, the college presidents of UPenn, Harvard, MIT, they were asked, not is genocide bad, but could genocide be construed as harassment? And
Under
if you're Jewish,
under your university's code of conduct, I believe, was
right? Which, by the way, Harvard has rules against fat phobia, which apparently is the dumbest fucking name. It's like Islamophobia. I'm not afraid of Islam. People who like talk about
people are.
Well, they are, but many people who like want to have anti-Islamic anti-Muslim immigration and stuff. That's not phobia. It's
hatred.
Yes. So you can be fat hatred, but fat phobia, that's a thing?
Well, I don't know. There could be people. I mean, under certain circumstances, you could be afraid of fat people.
Well,
if you woke up in the middle of the night and Chris Christie thought your head was a toilet seat, you'd be afraid.
I just love that Donald Trump is making fun of Chris Christie's weight. Have you seen
I know, that
Donald Trump? I mean, in any kind of tight clothing when he plays golf and stuff.
Oh, it's amazing.
It looks like triplets wrestling under a sheet. It's disgusting. Anyway, so they were asked a very simple question. Is genocide harassment under your code of conduct? And none of them could say yes. All of them tried to nuance it, tried to dance around it. Yeah, it was a gotcha moment, but you're going in front of a Republican.
They were anticipating a gotcha moment. What was happening is they were thinking, oh God, this is going to be about that from the river to the sea thing. That's what they're going to ask me about. And then it's going to be a gotcha. No. That's what they were thinking. But that's dumb. That's not what they should have done.
No, but the president of UPenn resigned.
Way you said first, like, of course, calling for the genocide of anyone is goes against university policy, period. And then please proceed, Congresswoman. And then she would have then said, well, it's such and such called for free Palestine and from the river to the sea, which is a call for the genocide of the Jews. And then the answer would have been like, well, either I would say, no, it doesn't, or you could say, well, let's just say that is far from a universally held opinion. That is far from clear. That is a topic that should be argued about, not censored. You censor when someone says death to the Jews, you censor them and you expel them. But if they say from the river to the sea, you can argue. Well, personally, I wouldn't argue with them. But if you want to argue with them,
I would. I absolutely.
Then you argue. But I don't think that's a firing offense.
No, you know what's a firing offense? Is the president of our top universities are fucking idiots.
Well,
that's really the crime here.
It's true. After this happened, what's her name? Lauren Gay or something like that. That's not her first name.
Claudine Gay.
Claudine Gay, right? Thank you. So Claudine Gay, I decided to look up a list of previous Harvard presidents, and it's like former ambassador to the United Nations, former Secretary of State, people, Nobel Prize laureates, and then there's her. It's like she's just not that great. What can I say? She can't communicate effectively, and that's the job. She's basically the CEO of Harvard. Now she did get a vote of confidence from at least 700 members of the faculty there. That carries weight at a college. It doesn't determine anything, but it is something that the administration considers.
Right. And yesterday, I believe it was the board of the Harvard Corporation, which apparently is what it's called, voted unanimously to retain her.
Which, by the way, was the right call. I mean, I would have personally been like, to me, if I were on that board, I'd be thinking, let's look for someone in like 2 years. But like for now, you can't you can't get into that Me Too mode where you just start firing and canceling everyone. Otherwise, the alums are going to run wild. And every time, and when they want to control everything that the university does, you're going to be constantly, running scared. It's a power struggle.
Yeah, but I can definitely see large Jewish contributors to Harvard and to MIT saying, no more.
Well, that's what some of them have been saying. It's like, I guess I would, if I were going to sit down with one of these billionaires who doesn't want to give money to Harvard anymore, first of all, I'd say, why don't you try giving money to one of the thousands of colleges in this country that are struggling and really could use the money. Harvard doesn't need your money. So that would be my first point. But if I were interested in money going to Harvard, I'd be like, look, how can you really say that like a college should tell students on campus that they can't say free Palestine? Like, I'm sorry, like you're telling me that they should be expelled from college. I mean, what's next? I mean, it's too extreme. I mean, I don't care how Zionist or pro-Israel you are. That is extreme. That's an extreme right-wing position, Scott.
I don't think it's even right-wing, but I would agree that, you have free speech, and I've advocated for free speech absolutism here. You have a right to say whatever the hell you want to, but there are repercussions to be paid for that.
Yeah, but should the repercussions include being expelled from college?
It depends on what you say. If, like you said,
free Palestine, or from the river to the sea.
I have an issue with that. We can debate that.
But if you're like on the board of Harvard, would you say those students should be expelled just for that?
No. I would not, but I beg your pardon?
Warned?
I would, yeah, I mean, this sounds so draconian. I would, like I said, this sounds draconian. It sounds Orwellian. And I said it, I thought that even before I said it, but I still think you could have the students in and explain to them what that means and the what it implies. But that wasn't the question. And the question, Ted, was just so stupid. And can you remember the representative who was asking these questions at that time? What her name is?
No, Elise Stefanik.
Yeah. Okay. So she was, and she was clearly fishing and looking and trying different tacks to trip them up. And she sure found one. It was is genocide harassment. If there's a call for genocide, let's say there's a call for genocide against the French. Mm-hmm. God knows why anyone would bother, but let's just say it anyway. You and I would feel harassed if you were there. You work for Sputnik Radio. If they came out, yeah, we have a thing now. We want a genocide against all French people. Would you feel harassed?
No.
No.
Harassed. I mean, I would feel threatened, I think is the more correct word.
Well, that's what harassment is. And yes, and that's precisely the answer, Ted. It's not, and that's what pisses me off, like I said at the top of the segment, more than anything, is just how fucking stupid their response was. Just this woke cancel culture bullshittery that they've swallowed the pill for, and that they can't bring themselves to say, yeah, mentioning genocide against anybody is bad.
Right.
I would fire President Gay for that. You're saying this because you think I'm anti-Semitic. No, I'm saying it because you're stupid.
Because you can't message for the college. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, an MIT professor too, and the president of Penn, she did the right thing. She stepped down because you can't walk this back. Harvard's going to pay. I'm not sure what kind of price it can pay. I mean, Ted, let's look down the road. Does this mean anything going forward?
I don't really believe so. I mean, I think it's interesting because it's about free speech, and it's about a clash of bullies at the highest level, right? Between academia and these wealthy donors who kind of think that they want to run the college. So I think it's a clash of the titans, and that makes it interesting. But in the end, these are old struggles. They go way back. I did all sorts of analysis when I went to Columbia of the 1968 student strike. And if you look at the alumni magazines from that period, there's all these right-wing alums who are like from the 1950s who are like, fuck these hippies, go in with the cops and shoot them all. And, it's kind of like, I'm not donating any more money to that fucking Columbia College. They can suck my dick. They're like, it's crazy. But like I think there's nothing new under the sun, particularly if at a place like Harvard, that was founded in 1637.
And has an endowment in the tens of billions.
Correct. I checked $53 billion at.
Oh yeah. You can probably
They'll probably be able to weather the storm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, it's like, if you don't want to donate $1 billion to Harvard, there's always someone else who wants a building named after them.
Would you want a building named after you?
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Yes.
Would you?
Yes. Wouldn't you?
Yeah. As I get older, I kind of get the, why
the desire for pseudo immortality.
Yeah. They're going to go to the Scott Stantis library, and, of course, the students.
And no one knows who Scott Stantis was. Oh, some old white guy.
Well, it's sort of like the cartoon library at Ohio State, Billy Ireland, which is named after you and I are cartoonists. We love cartooning. We're kind of cartoon historians.
Especially you.
Neither of us have any idea who Billy Ireland is.
And that's true of our colleagues too, some of whom are even more knowledgeable about the history of political cartooning than we are. Billy Ireland, I think it's safe to say, was a nobody. Now, I know they would argue
he was a titan of Columbia. Of Columbus, Ohio.
Indeed. They say he was truly the Billy Ireland of Columbus.
Well, and so they'd be walking through the Ted Rall, hall there at Columbia, because
there is a Rall Hall named after my father at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Is that right?
Yeah, there is. Rall Hall doesn't have a great sound. I would of course rename it Clovis Hall. And it would be built in the shape of Clovis's head, and you walk in through the mouth.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Wouldn't it? And the fangs would go up and down as he walked in.
Oh, I'd go to school there. Here's the thing. You want to give $1 billion? I actually attended Los Angeles Harbor College, which was a community college in the harbor area of Los Angeles, hence the name. Give them, you know what $1 billion would do for Los Angeles Harbor College? Oh my God.
Revolutionary. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Well, on that note, we're going to depart. Unless we're not allowed to, unless the laws preclude us from leaving and, having a procedure that we want. See, that's a tease. That's a tease. Right. We'll be back. You're listening to the DMZ America podcast with me, Scott Stantis, coming from the right.
And Ted Rall coming to you from the left.
We'll be right back.